I just got approved for $3,300 of business funding with no hard credit pull and no personal guarantee needed from Novo, who offer a free business checking account alongside business funding. Getting cash in the bank funding like this is next to impossible when you have a new small business with low monthly sales revenue. Now you can get access to cash that you can use anywhere for any purpose in your business without hurting your personal credit at all. I'll show you how I got approved months faster than Novo advertises, why this is basically a business line of credit, even though it's technically not one, and 6 ways Novo funding is better than a business credit card. So the minimum requirements are a 600 FICO score. I know, that's really low. Up to 6 months of banking history with Novo, and you have to make between $500 and $2,000 per month in business revenue. What I noticed is that these are the lowest minimum requirements for this type of business line of credit style funding that I've ever seen. And many more small businesses will be able to qualify now. And if you want to follow along and do what I did, just hit the link below. I'll leave a link to the Novo business account so you can follow my steps and get funded too. Novo funding is technically a merchant cash advance, but in practice, it functions a lot like a business line of credit because it uses monthly percentage rates to calculate interest based on what you still owe each month. Plus, like a business line of credit, you can draw down and then repay that credit line anytime. And when you repay early, you reduce the interest that you owe. The rates can start as low as 1.5%, which is pretty nice. And here's a bonus. There's 0 penalty for paying off your Novo draw early, so you're free to clear that debt whenever you can. And when it comes to deciding how much you can borrow, Novo looks at a bunch of things like how long you've been doing business, what your sales and expenses look like, and even your personal credit score. If it turns out you're a bit short in your Novo account, when a payment is due, you don't have to be stressed about it. They'll just pull the funds that they need from your linked external accounts. And connecting these accounts doesn't just help cover payments, it also gives Novo a better picture of your business's finances, which might just get you a higher credit limit or a sweeter rate. And Novo doesn't report anything that you borrow to the business credit bureaus or the personal credit bureaus. Your funding limit is yours to use whenever you want. Just keep your Novo business checking account active because if it hits 130 days of no activity, they might shut it down, and that would cut off your access to funds. And just a heads up, your available limit and the rates might change based on larger economic changes, any shifts in your credit score, or how you're using your checking account. So let me tell you how I got approved step by step with way less effort and way faster than I expected. I set up a free business checking account with Novo over a year ago under my company, Bart Media LLC. Even though I established my business back in December of 2022, I had to dissolve and reform that business in October of 2023 because I moved from New York to North Carolina. That put me at a huge disadvantage because a lot of that time in business I had built up, which is a huge factor for getting approved for business credit, I had lost that. So in January of 2024, I decided to test and see how much credit Novo was willing to give to a newer small business like mine and bring all those data points back to you so you can learn from it. The problem is, even though I opened the Novo business checking account over a year ago, I never used it. And Novo was never my primary business account. In fact, I had a $0 balance for months on end. As far as building relationships go, I was basically starting from scratch with pretty much no relationship with Novo other than the initial sign up with $100. Every time I logged into my account, the button for business funding was completely grayed out, which meant I was ineligible. So what I did was deposit $5,000 from one of my other business accounts in January to get things started. And on a weekly basis for 2 months, I checked my account, and every time it still said I was ineligible for funding. I really started to second guess whether this was a good idea or not, and chose to skip February with no deposits because I was kind of defeated. Then in March, I decided to give it another try, and I deposited another $2,000 and still no success. It wasn't until my third deposit in April for $3,000 that changed everything. And just a few days after making that third deposit, I checked the Novo app, and to my surprise, it told me my business was now eligible for funding. I mean, I was shocked. It happened so quickly. It only took 3 deposits. Once I clicked the funding button, it took me through 1 or 2 pages of terms, and I didn't need to input any new information, which was nice. Novo told me they would soft pull my personal credit report to finish off the application. And I use Aura Identity Theft Protection to monitor my credit report, and I never received a notification of a hard credit pull happening. So I can confirm without a shadow of a doubt, it was just a soft credit pull. So right before I went through the application process, I had a FICO score of 796, utilization rate of 2%, my average age of accounts was 6 years and 8 months, and my number of revolving accounts was 31. I had 0 late payments, and the age of my most recently opened account was 2 months. After that, it took me to a screen that said I was approved for $3,300 at a 2.25% monthly rate over 6 months. In total, it took 3 deposits of at least $2,000 over a 4-month period to become eligible for funding. And Novo clearly states that you need 6 months to qualify, but apparently in my situation, you don't, but your mileage may vary. So now I have access to over $3,000 of cash money to use for any business expense I could possibly need. I don't plan on using it at the moment, but it's nice to have the option if I need it at some point down the line. And just remember, I'll leave a link below to that free Novo business account if you're interested in doing this yourself. You might hear some noise about the high rates on merchant cash advances, but get this, Novo only charges me 2.25% per month over 6 months, which adds up to an annual rate of 30.6%. That's really not that much higher than your typical business credit card will charge you. And that's really not too bad when you consider you only need a 600 FICO score to get approved. It's going to be super hard to qualify for any business credit card with a 600 FICO score. And using business funding like this has some pretty big advantages that a lot of people ignore. With the Novo credit line, the cash lands straight in your business account. With a typical business credit card, you got to jump through hoops using payment services like Melio for vendor payments, which slaps an extra 2.9% fee. But with Novo, you get the cold hard cash in your hand, and that's perfect for covering everything from payroll to contractor payments to office leases and even putting a down payment on a new company car. And about those limits, Novo really steps it up with limits reaching up to $75,000. That really overshoots many business credit cards that are capped at about $50,000. What's even better is that your limit is really based on your business's performance, not your personal credit, giving you more room to grow as your business does. Your personal credit also gets to take a breather because unlike some business credit cards that report to the personal credit bureaus, I'm looking at you, Capital One and Discover, Novo keeps things between you and them. This means no surprises on your personal credit report, and that helps you keep that credit utilization low and your FICO scores high. And here's a big deal. There's no personal guarantee required with Novo. So say you want to splurge on new equipment for your construction company and a client bails on you, leaving you short. Novo will tap into your business account, but it won't touch your personal assets, so your house and your cars are safe. This means any problems stay strictly on the business side. And you know, there's actually another business funding option that acts just like Novo funding in that there's no personal guarantee required and the limits go even higher. I'm talking up to $2 million. Check out the next video so you can find out how you can get approved for that card without hurting your personal credit. And thank you for watching.